All right,
Okay.
Dr. Dayakaide, let's just peg that there and switch to this issue of the EFCC boss, that's Bawa, who, of course, is in the eye of the storm now, as the court has now, the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abdul Rashid Bawa, has appealed the court's ruling, sending him to the Kuje Correctional Center for contempt. And of course, it was reported earlier how Justice Chizoba Oji of the Federal Capital Territory convicted Bawa in relation to his agency's failure to comply with an earlier order of the court. In her ruling on Tuesday, Justice Oji held that the anti-graft czar is in contempt of the order of the court made on November 21, 2018, directing the commission to return to an applicant his Range Rover and the sum of 40 million naira. When this case was, of course, ruled, talking about the fact that he was said to be sent to the Kuje prison before he, of course, is appealing it now. But how did that come to you, Dr. D?
You see, there are two ways to look at this. Number one, when EFCC was taking this case to court, did he do its due diligence on that particular case towards making the court to see why this guy must be prosecuted? Because when you're talking of financial crime is not something that cannot be proved. You must have the movement of money from one point to the other. Then you must be able to establish the essence, the involvement, what are the things that are involved in that movement of that money. And when you take such to court, you must be ready to convince the court that yes, this person has really committed that offense. Because definitely EFCC too has its legal department that's supposed to have done all those due diligence. That is one. Two, Federal High Court, when you give an order against a particular case, that person, does he have that right to appeal that case? Does he have that right to appeal that case? Within how many days is he having that window to appeal that case? Now, before you now convince EFCC boss, has he gone ahead to appeal that case? So these are things that we had expected that news to feed the people, so that we know whether yes, when that case was judged for EFCC to release all those things, what were the reactions of EFCC to that judgment at that point? So we need all those things to put them together to be able to assess the essentials within.
Okay, Dr. D, the conversation continues after this break, but from what we see from the court ruling, the EFCC apparently flouted that order to return the vehicle and also return the 40 million naira. But we will discuss this further after this break, as Jido Logun would be joining us. We'll be right back.
We still have Dr. Dayakaide, the political technocrat, joining us virtually, even as we continue the discussion concerning the court's conviction of the EFCC chairman, Abdul Rashid Bawa. Thanks for joining us, Dr. D.
It's my pleasure always.
So, looking at this, let's take South Africa for instance. I know, yes, the judicial system differs, but you had former South African President Jacob Zuma being held, for contempt of the court, and he was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Now, yes, Bawa has appealed Do you think it will go down the stretch and he would be convicted, or you think he would win on appeal?
Yes, you know, the judge that has convicted him,
yes,
must have his own reasons for doing that.
Exactly.
If I'm saying if he is acting within the confines of the law,
okay,
within the confines of the law, I am sure appeal court will uphold that particular judgment.
okay.
And if appeal court also has its own
Reservations.
reasons
Okay.
for upholding that I call this Supreme Court will also uphold it,
Okay.
and then it will have no option than to go to that that go and serve that commuters.
Okay.
So,
But what would that say about our? What would that say about our anti-graft agency and anti-graft system generally, having the czar of one of the anti-graft agencies going to jail? We saw that happen with
let me also
Magu.
put it to you. Let me also put it to you. Are we talking about what will happen to the czar of EFCC, or which one? Rule of law?
Yeah, I'm talking about the system itself.
We are supposed to look at the rule of law. That is to say, nobody should be above the law. Just as the family said of what happened to Zuma. Nobody should be above the law. So, and that is why I said initially, when we started this conversation, that EFCC has its own legal department, of which they're supposed to have done their due diligence before taking that case to court. And if at the end of the day he was being jailed, then it will teach other institutions, not only SSC, now other institutions, a big lesson that Nigeria is now coming of age to have strong institutions that must at any point in time be able to defend his actions or inactions.
But you don't smell any rats here. You know, something like this happened with Ibrahim Magu, the former EFCC boss, who also had some court cases. Till today, that hasn't been resolved.
Yes, well, you see, smelling a rat is different from looking at the case on ground. But if it is about smelling a rat or whatever, then you know that in Nigeria we always have the fifth columnist to all issues. Probably, the czar of EFCC might have stepped on some toes, especially our head of judiciary, Malami, and then he might not want to go the route of Magu, and then decide to use the courts, because he is also a member of the judiciary. And I want to use that word. Yes, it's also possible. But it is a pity. It is a pity that if that is the case, the czar of EFCC had allowed that lacuna to be used against him.
All right, Dr. Dayakaide, that's a good place to live in.
If he had been upright and have done his due diligence, nobody will have been able to
use it against him. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time on the show, Dr. Dayakaide, the political technocrat. Have a great day.
My pleasure.
All right, we'll take a break now. When we'll come back, we would continue this conversation with Jide Ologun. Please stay with us. Let's further the conversation with Barrister Jide Ologun, who is a legal practitioner, talking about the embattled EFCC boss, Abdulrasheed Bawah. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Ologun.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Now, what are your thoughts? Let's start with the court case and the fact that he's been, charged for contempt of court. That's the EFCC boss, Abdul Rashid Bawa, talking about the case that was ruled in 2018 for the return of 40 million naira, and also the what's the other thing now for the everything that happened in the 2018 court case. So, what are your thoughts on the case?
We are talking about institutional matter here. He wasn't the chairman in 2018, but that court order was given, and EFCC was expected to comply with court order. That is the concept of the rule of law that expressly states that no one is above the law. And from his own feedback, I think the Ring Rover has been returned to the person, but the 40 million naira is yet to be returned. And when you talk about contempt means disregard to a court order. So the court is not happy about it. And this committal is that, okay, if EFCC is not going to comply fully with the instructions of the court, then the chairman should be committed to prison. And the Honorable Justice has that power, and now that what we can witness is for EFCC to probably fast track the release of the funds to the owner, and then, and that terminates the need for the EFCC chairman.
Yeah, but why wait 4 years, 2018 till now, and the fact that he wasn't even the czar of the EFCC as at the time when the court ruled?
But from the report I read also, he may claim that he was not fully aware. When you come newly into an office, you cannot bulldoze your way into all the files that are pending. So you only have access to what is presented to you. But from his own report, I think the Ring Rover that was released was released this year. But the issue with money in Nigeria is another thing entirely. But whether we like it or not, we have three arms of government: the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative arms. And they are there for checks and balances. So the judiciary is exercising her power now to say, okay, if you're not going to obey my instructions, then commit this man to prison. And that may make him to now ensure that EFCC does the needful. But he has also said that there will be an appeal against that decision. But the respect to the order of the court may prevent the need for appeal, because as soon as that is done, you expect that the judge will leave that committal order. But by and large, if we are interested in national development, the rule of law should prevail. And what the rule of law says is that no one is above the law. Even the president of the nation is not above the law. He may enjoy prosecution immunity, but he is not above the law. And the agencies that operate in support of his governance architecture must also not just be seen to respect the laws of the land, but clearly seen to do it, so that we can set the right signal to not just other citizens, but to the world, that we are a serious nation. So this is again another test for strengthening our legal framework. And you look at the case of Nnamdi Kanu, who was to be released by the court, but he was not released. And right now, there's a twist to it, the matter is going to the Supreme Court and things like that. So we must be seen to promptly respect the rule of law. And many of the school of thought that this government may be characteristically disrespectful to court decisions, and it does not speak well. It does not speak well. In a society where you allow that, then you are likely to have more crisis than progress.
Okay, you just painted the possibility of EFCC paying off the said amount, 40 million naira, and the case is quashed, so to speak, or according to the EFCC himself, they will appeal the ruling and see if they can even push it all the way. As a legal practitioner, what do you think the legal implication will be if EFCC fails at the appeal, court? Because to just, chalk out 40 million naira from their coffers right now may be challenging.
They're even complaining about funds.
Exactly.
What is challenging in it?
It will amount to...
The 40 million naira is held in custody. So, let me express how it operates.
Okay.
We have read the reports, and that is the procedure. There's a value chain in justice dispensation. You first apply for temporary forfeiture.
Exactly.
I mean, we had the case of the Jenny recently. Temporary forfeiture means, okay, you are holding it until there is a final forfeiture. In the case of the Jenny, there is now an order of final forfeiture to the government. So at that point, she doesn't have access to it. But if at the point of temporary forfeiture, she proves her case that forfeiture is unlawful, those things will be returned to her.
Okay.
And in this instant case, the person who is accused and under the new dispensation of criminal justice, you refer to him as defendant, has proved that EFCC had no right to confiscate his vehicle and money. And the court has pronounced that return his ring over to him, return his money to him. What EFCC could have done was to appeal that decision. So if they did not appeal that decision in 2018, then you release to him. So and the court is angry now. Why will I make an order and this agent is disrespecting the order? Because the Inspector General of Police is expected to get him arrested and go and lock him up in the prison. In a country that the rule of law prevails. You see, so the options available are what I have pushed forward. Go and give this man his 40 million naira. Write to the court that, sir, your lordship, we have complied with your order. We are sorry for the administrative gaps and things like that. And case closed.
But you don't think that money would have gone into some pockets? He was talking about the fact that getting that money out of the coffers of the EFCC.
Get the money out of the pocket. It's on record you collected 40 million naira from someone. And that's what we are saying. Section 15 of Section 5 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended says that the state shall abolish corrupt practices and abuse of office. So those who are in the temple of justice are to be seen to respect the rule of law and be clean. This is so if at the end of the day EFCC is claiming they don't know where 40 million naira is, then why do we even have EFCC? If you know what the EFCC is doing, it's not to fight economic crime. So if they want fighting economic crime, there is also a bench in economic crime. Then what are we talking about? What are we talking about? So this is just one isolated case out of probably several other cases of those who have found it difficult to harvest their, dividends of judicial decisions. You see, why should court take decisions and something they are, like I said, ethical about implementing the decision?
But as you said, he wasn't even the boss when this happened. So it's just like
it doesn't matter.
him being the slaughter lamb.
I've explained that. He's occupying an office. See, and you don't make an excuse. For 4 years, this regime blamed Goodluck Jonathan. So can we be blaming Goodluck Jonathan now? The dollar is 900 naira. So the person we need to focus on is President Muhammadu Buhari, who is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces and the presiding officer over the economy of the nation. You see, so he is there now as the chairman. So he has a responsibility to make his agency to respect the laws of the land. Whether those orders were given before he assumed office or when he is in office. And like I said earlier, from the report I read, the Range Rover has been released. Reportedly, I cannot confirm that. So if you have released the Range Rover, that is part performance, like we say in law. So you go the whole hall, then give him his money. If the money is somewhere in somebody's pocket, then go after the person. Look at the case of Abakari.
Yeah.
A highly revered police officer involved in that level of crime at the point of allegation, though, because we have the presumption of innocence under our constitution. So so we cannot really rise up and raise up our hands in the air that we are so clean and that we are actually fighting corruption. So this is another test. So if EFCC is up to the standard expected, then the money should be released to the owner. And if there is any reason why the money should not be released, then let's know.
Okay.
But the court has given an order, respect that order, or you appeal against it.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. But you don't just have outright disregard for an order coming from the top house of government.
Okay.
The executive is not emperorship in nature. They are all expected to synergize to move the nation forward. You know, Section 4 of the Nigerian Constitution right now as amended says that the National Assembly shall make laws for the peace, order, and good governance of Nigeria. And the judiciary is there to help us interpret these laws.
Okay.
So we need respect for the rule of law.
All right, do you also... Okay, go ahead.
You said earlier that if the EFCC wasn't comfortable with the verdict, then they could appeal. The ZARS made that clear that they've appealed the decision. What are you expecting to come out of that appeal as a legal practitioner?
The appeal I'm talking about is the
He's talking about before
the previous case.
To appeal against
the ruling
judgment of 2018 that they return his vehicle and money to him.
Okay.
If EFCC was not comfortable, that they would have gone to a higher court to say no.
Okay.
We have strong evidence not to release this, and maybe they will win. But if you did not do that, please obey the rule of it, obey the order of the court.
So what do you make of this appeal?
If someone hijacked that money to put in a personal account, then collect your interest, return this man's money to him. So there is a victim now that is crying for justice.
Okay.
And the ministries, departments, and agencies of government are expected to be temples of justice to the people.
Okay.
Particularly under a democracy. This is so. This time around, this fresh appeal that is so that there will be a day of execution because as we speak, except the appeal has been filed, the Inspector General of Police is expected to get him arrested and take him to the specific prison that the judge has ordered. But then, the Inspector General of Police also may say he doesn't know his whereabouts, or he has not been formally
notified
about it, or different excuses. But please, any nation that will rise and shine must respect the rule of law.
But where do you see this appeal going?
How which development rotates.
Where do you see this appeal going? What result do you expect to come out of it?
What the appeal will do is to stay that order. To say, okay, you cannot go after him to take him to the prison, while he now probably convinces the court why that money should not be released. All right.
Okay.
And even for me, I think that would be a very sensitive one, in the sense that if you are claiming you have released the vehicle, then what stops you from releasing the money?
Exactly.
And that will bring up messier issues. Maybe some people, I'm saying maybe, some people have gone to keep that money in one account, because normally there should be a custodian of exhibits within the system. That, okay, we have seized this amount of money from this person. There has to be an account dedicated to that is subject to accountability. You see, so, and if you cannot account for it, then it's an issue. We read at the time that ammunition, guns disappeared from the armory of the police. I mean, why should that be? These are questions that are disturbing, issues that are disturbing. So if you have been put in place to defend justice, you must be seen to defend justice.
But in wrapping up, Barrister, looking at all of these issues and seeing the past trend in the EFCC, some people have come up with the thought that this could be a case of witch hunt, that maybe he has stepped on the toes of the powers that be, and probably he's been getting punished for that. Do you also buy into that school of thought?
Are you talking about the person of the chairman of EFCC?
Yes. Looking at what happened with Ibrahim Magu.
I do not buy into that.
Okay.
Let me clarify it again. The judge gave an order. Release Range Rover, release 40 million since 2018. Maybe the beneficiary of that order, you know, how many cases will a judge remember that he has presided over? Went back to court to say, sir, we should be the normal procedure. Even though they have given me my Range Rover, they are yet to give me my money. And the honorable judge will say, what? Are you serious about that? And he has the power to deal with that disrespect, to make a committal order that is applied for contempt of court. Contempt of court means disrespect to court.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean?
I
So
see
that
your
is
point.
what is here now. So what the court is demanding is that please respect my order. If you are not going to respect my order, take the chairman and take him to prison.
Okay.
No agency is above the law, particularly when you are even a law enforcing agency.
All right.
So that is where we are now.
You have
We
totally
must
ruled out the witch hunt
respect the rule of
possibility.
law.
All right. We'll just leave the conversation there. Thank you so much for the insight shared on the show this morning, Barrister Jide Ologun, legal practitioner.
You're welcome.
Have a
God
good day.
bless Nigeria.
God bless you too. We'll take a break now. When we come back, it will be time to unpack some more interesting packages on the show. We'll be right back.